Hi, my name is Pamela Deneuve, and I am a high performance coach. And I am here with Melanie Fenwick Thompson and Phyllis Williams, who are attorneys in the Atlanta metropolitan area. And we have been asked to speak on lawyer well-being, specifically as it concerns self-care. So before we begin, we want to let you know a little bit about who we are. And Phyllis and Melanie have known each other for almost 20 years. And so I've asked Phyllis to introduce Melanie and Melanie to introduce Phyllis so that you get a really good idea about who they are and what they have accomplished in their practices. Melanie, would you like to go first?
I sure can. Well, first of all, Pamela, thank you for inviting me on this panel. I'm so excited to share my friend with other members of the ABA. Phyllis R. Williams is currently an attorney and of counsel at Fox Legal. She is also an associate judge in the Magistrate Court of DeKalb County in the state of Georgia. She also serves as a private mediator. Phyllis has over 25 years of trial experience as an attorney in the areas of family law, personal injury, and criminal defense. You cannot tell by her skin and her beautiful tone, but she does have over 25 years of experience. She's litigated cases ranging from auto accidents and premises liability to products liability and drunk driving. Phyllis's comfort and ease while litigating is intriguing, it's humorous, and it is persuasive. If you've never seen her litigate, you have to if you are interested in powerful and persuasive litigation. Phyllis is also a part-time magistrate judge who brings a wealth of knowledge from both sides of the courtroom and mediating family disputes, ranging from legitimation to divorces and modification. When I listen to Phyllis on the bench, I'm so proud to have a person who has lived her life as a minority with humble beginnings, listening and judging, because she's first and foremost respectful of everyone, and she listens, and she's fair, and she's reasonable. All qualities she has in her everyday life that she brings to the bench. And I can personally say that as a friend.
That's very good. Thank you.
A few more
Phyllis.
points. I do have a few more points that I think are interesting.
Okay, please
It has
continue.
nothing to do with the law, though.
Okay, great. Please do.
She's also classically trained as a pianist. She graduated from the University of Florida with a Bachelor of Music. And she did not include this in her bio, but she also has an amazing and captivating voice. Let me just give you some brief history on her work experience, but she spent 6 years in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, working in the automobile insurance industry as a licensed insurance salesperson, and later as a claims representative for State Farm insurance companies. After earning her law degree, she began her professional career as an insurance defense attorney before starting her own firm and eventually merging her firm with Fox Legal. In addition to practicing, mediating, and judging, Phyllis was an adjunct professor at Georgia State University Business School. She is an administrative hearing officer with the DeKalb County Merit System and is an instructor with the Magistrate Court Training Council, training judges through the state of Georgia in criminal and civil matters. Impressive. Phyllis loves to travel internationally. She loves to cook and entertain, and she loves playing racquetball. And it is my pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague and mentor and accountability partner, Phyllis R. Williams.
Phyllis,
Yes.
please follow up to that.
Oh my goodness. So let me thank you first, Pamela, because I do appreciate wellness. This is something that has become very important to me. And quite frankly, I would not have known it because I would not have met you had it not been for my friend, Melanie Fenwick Thompson. She's the senior attorney at her firm, Fenwick Thompson Associates. So a little bit about Mel. She's a native of Baltimore, and she wants you to know she's from Baltimore. Here's an interesting fact that I found out a couple of years ago and it just tickled me to death. While most folks were going to regular high school, Mel told her parents she wanted to go to boarding school. And she required them to find a way to make sure she attended boarding school. So after she graduated boarding school, she went to Bucknell University. And get a load of this. She has a bachelor's degree in international relations, where she also minored in dance, and she played Division I basketball. So after she got out of school, she worked in corporate America. And I found this so interesting. She worked with a company called Tektronix. Tektronix is a Macintosh company that they create computer training manuals that they sell to other people so their companies can create computer training manuals. So she is the master of repurposing and seeing beyond what you can see. She went to law school in Baltimore from 96 to 99. While she was there, she was still working at Tektronix. She spent a summer in Paris going to law school. She was an extra in a couple of Baltimore-based television series, Homicide and Hairspray, and she was a print ad model. Now, I don't know how she got out of law school doing all of that, but here we are. So when she graduated, she worked with an entertainment attorney here in Atlanta. And she learned things like trademarks, copyrights, drafting and negotiating, recording agreements, producer agreements, entertainment related agreements. And after she felt like she had enough experience under her belt, she opened her own firm. And that's the firm that she is a senior member of today. Mel and I met though, because when she expanded her firm, she opened it up to family law. And so she and I met at DeKalb County Juvenile Court. And I was an attorney there doing some pro bono work, and I love pro bono. I think it's a win-win for everybody. Mel asked me to be her mentor, and I was like, okay, I'll tell you what I know. Over time, I think the mentor-mentee relationship sort of diminished and the colleague relationship began. And as I watched her blossom and become an excellent trial attorney, I was just so proud of my friend. I was mad at her one time because we were on opposite sides of the courtroom, and she started using my stuff against me. But other than that, we collaborated on a training manual for DeKalb County Magistrate Court to help other attorneys who wanted to come into the juvenile court. We collaborated on a training manual for juvenile court, which helped young attorneys who wanted to represent people in juvenile court to learn how to do that, because it's an excellent training ground if you want to be a trial attorney. And then she went above and beyond. She has been a CLE instructor at the Family Law Institute. And I had to write some of this down. She's been an instructor on social media. She's been a panelist on domestic violence. She's made numerous appearances on WAOK radio, and she's been a panelist on the American Bar Association YLD Entertainment Seminar Group. So it's my honor and my pleasure to introduce my friend and my colleague. I'm not her mentor anymore, but my friend and my colleague, Melanie Fenwick Thompson.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. And because we're talking about well-being, I wanted Melanie and Phyllis to just give you an idea of what, when I had the honor of working with both of them, and what were some of the bullet points that you benefited from our work together, so that other lawyers can see what the potential is of having a coach and working with them. And even though you have all these other things going on in your law practice and in your life, because Melanie's is a mom, and Phyllis has a mother who is elderly. So they, in addition to all of these things they're doing, they also have all these other things that they are responsible for. And so Melanie, if you could start off, and what are a couple of things that you benefited from working with me the period of time we worked together?
Well, I think that there are many benefits to hiring an effective and professional business coach. And I did not understand the value or the benefit of that until I met you. And I'm so grateful that I was introduced to you because what I understood from having a coach and learned is that it's almost like having a business therapist. And you need a team around you, especially when you're a solo practitioner like myself and like Phyllis was. It's important to create a team around you to make sure that you are continuing to grow, continuing to identify weaknesses and magnify your strengths so that you can create and reach your goals. And I think what my experience with you did was gave me tools to continue my road to success and even identify what that looks like for myself. So I think you sometimes say, oh, I want to be successful, but you don't really understand what that looks like. So you gave me tools to conceptualize that, put that on paper, and then I learned to have something concrete to work towards. And the second thing is I was able to or learned how to identify how I make decisions and sharpen my ability to manifest my goals into reality. So really kind of twofold, how to identify a roadmap for your success, and then two, how to sharpen your own skills and abilities to manifest those goals into reality. That's huge for, I think, any business person, but it was just so empowering for me because I know I have all these things in me, but having someone like yourself who is patient and knowledgeable, but still very firm, held me accountable for what I thought I wanted and how I needed to get there.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Phyllis, can you contribute a little bit?
Let me
too?
jump in because I had gotten to a point in my career where, bottom line, it just wasn't enough hours in the day for me to try to be good at what I do. And, you know, of course, our reputation is everything. And so at the time I became appointed as a part-time judge and I was still practicing, it had gotten to be a lot because I want to be a good judge, but I also want to be a good attorney. And I started talking to Mel about it. And that's why I said we're not mentor mentor, we're colleagues and friends. I started talking to Mel about it, and she suggested that I give you a call. And I'm so glad I did because in my office, I used to keep this sign up, especially for my divorcing clients. And the sign said, "Do not be afraid of change, be afraid of not changing." And so I would read that sign every day, and I knew I wanted to change, but here is what it was for me. I didn't know how to change. And so when I came to you, Pamela, I think the first thing I said to you, or one of the first things is, I got to figure out how to turn the corner in my life. Because I knew I couldn't keep up the hustle of being a private attorney. I did want to be, I want to be more engaged as a judge. And I didn't know how to let go of some of the stuff that I was doing in my practice so that I could be fully present and engaged in being the best judge I can be. And so I still thank Mel to this day for introducing me to you and you to me. And something she said that has always resonated with me. When you took me through that exercise to help me learn my decision-making process, to learn how I make decisions, you said something that was so powerful because that process is what gets us to where we are, but it's that same process that can hold us back and keep us from going any further. so that was very powerful for me. I think one of the things I also recognized is I didn't know how to balance, and you helped me do that. And something as simple as putting a wellness day on the calendar, not a run around the city and run errands day, not I'm just not going to go to court today, but literally a wellness day where you wake up and you kind of decide you want to stay in bed, you want to go down, you want to transfer from the bed to the sofa. I know this may sound crazy. You want to take a shower today, but just Phyllis focused on that day, and that has helped me. I still put those days on my calendar because I have to, and it's probably because my personality. I'll just run myself out, and then they don't have to get on the calendar. But being intentional about making time for yourself is huge for me. And I think the last thing, because I could be here all day talking about how you helped me, Pam. You also helped me recognize the connection between my personal life and my professional life. I wanted to keep them separate. But I think part of what was holding me back is because, my personal life was in such disarray, even though I'm handling divorces and telling other people how to be in their personal life. I was not taking my advice. Mine was falling apart. And so I think it transferred, and bled over into my professional life. And you helped me see that, just so much stuff you helped me with. And I could go on and on.
Okay.
I can go on.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. So what we want to do, what we specifically want to talk about as we go forward, and we don't have, we're not going to be here all day for you, but I'm sure you're enjoying this segment. But we want to talk about self-care, because, when you have so many things going on, how do you actually take care of yourself? So we're going to start off with Melanie, because she has all these layers, and we want to talk about it also from the perspective of being a non-majority. There's other layers that we also experience as being women of color. And so, Melanie, could you talk a little bit about the layers and the pressures that you have as far as running your practice and all the other things that are involved in Melanie Fenwick Thompson's life and law practice?
Well, I think as a minority in general, we don't always have access to or are aware of the resources that are available to us. And so we're constantly we're creating, reinventing the wheel, right? So we're learning how to start a practice, build a practice, and what that means, and all the resources that we need. And that adds more stress to our business and to the practice of law. And we don't know that there is a balance. All we know is the grind. We know how to grind. We know how to hustle. We know how to get clients. But what we don't always know is how to create a balance so that we can be happy and successful at the same time. We're taught to grind. We're taught to, you do these things and you get this outcome. And that's all we're taught. You work hard and you work harder than the next person. And never is it taught to us that there's some other things that are even more important than working hard. There are resources that are available to you so that you might work smarter, because you don't get a badge of honor for working 16-hour days. And you don't get that superwoman, that S on your chest to walk around and stick your chest out like, yeah, I work 16-hour days and my firm is successful. And that's not that's not healthy, or that's not working smarter. And so we have to kind of step back, put people on our team so that we understand what is our ultimate goal. It cannot be to work at this rate for this long for the rest of our careers. That's just not, it's just not smart. And so until we understand what our ultimate goals are and then put the team in place to create that balance, then we might be successful on paper, but inside we're depleted. We're depleted. And so for me, I think I've always been very intentional about creating spaces to elevate and stimulate my levels of peace and positivity and energy flow. And if my space isn't right, then I can't stop. My wheels keep turning. I feel the imbalance. I feel my energy not being where it should be. And then I'm less creative or I'm less productive in my practice or in the business of the practice. And so I've always been very intentional about having sound that relaxes me, or furniture placement, color, design, routines, working out. I've been slipping for this past year, but that is usually in my important things to keep in place while I'm running the business. But COVID has definitely interrupted my workout routine, but it's very important to have these routines in place to make sure that you are maintaining your peace, and the people that you have in your space, other business partners, friends, because sometimes those people can deplete your energy and not kind of enhance your positivity or add value to your ultimate goals. So I think just being intentional in general for me, since I started my practice, has allowed for me to balance my family life, raising my son, when I have continued to have the same leave of absence since my son started school. My leave of absence looks like a calendar year for school, still to this day. I take summers off, I take Christmas holidays, major holidays. My leave looks like a school calendar. And now I've added days because I don't feel guilty anymore. Because when I am at work, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be balanced. And so I don't have anything to prove to people by not taking time off or just not being in court. So every year, my leave is in by December. My leave of absence is filed by December for every case for the entire year, so that I am committed to me for these periods of time, or to my son, or to my family, to make sure that I can navigate for the rest of the year.
I wanted to say one of the things, Melanie, is that, I really saw how you scaled your practice and you got the support staff so that you could have the kind of lifestyle that you wanted. And I saw that you're very good at organizing, you're very good at training, but you realized how you couldn't do everything yourself and how you got the right people that help you to run your practice so that you could have a life.
Right. So I think that is unfortunately these are generalizations that I'm making, no statistics to back it up. It's just how I feel. The circles that I've traveled in, this has been a common thread in the minority circles that I'm in. We sometimes are afraid to let go, afraid to delegate, afraid to hire people because we don't want to be responsible for other people's income. The problem with that is you do prevent your firm from growing. And you end up doing all of the work. And once again, that's not being successful. So early on, I learned how to delegate. And that's one of my pitches, if you will, in my consultations. I am a solo practitioner, but I run this firm like a major law firm. I only do what I am by law required to do, and everything else I delegate to my highly trained paralegals. And people like that. They feel like you are saving their money, you're preserving their retainer, and you are stepping in when you have to. So early on, I started with one maybe legal assistant. At one point, I had 7 people on my payroll, 2 attorneys and the rest admin staff, paralegals, and legal assistants. Now I've scaled back down to 2 amazing paralegals, and I can do other things to grow the practice, build on other business ventures that I have, or just relax and do nothing and know that my work is being taken care of and is done in a manner that I've trained these professionals to do paralegal related work.
Absolutely. Excellent. Excellent. So thank you, Melanie. We're going to ask Phyllis. So Phyllis, what are some of the pressures and how did your well-being, a lot of people that are listening to this or watching this would say, oh, that's good for you to say you have a well-being day and you put it on the calendar. So if in your explanation, could you go, your process of how that worked, and then the mechanics of what a well-being day does for you and what you actually do during your well-being day?
Yeah, it is easier said than done. I don't discount that. But at some point, I got to the point where I recognized that it had to be done. I couldn't keep going at the level that I was going. And so what I had to do in my brain is come to grips with, I may not make as much money as I would like to make. But what good is having all that money if I got patches of hair coming out and I can't enjoy it. And so it probably took me about 6 to 12 months to balance that, first in my brain and then balance it on my calendar. So I think you're right. It is easier said than done. Like Mel, I just decided I need to be intentional. And because, I'm 57. And so I've been alive longer than Mel. I've been practicing longer than Mel. I've seen some of the cycles that my business went through. And so as I started looking at taking time off, I just decided, here's a low time, here's a high time, here's where I want to do this, here's where I want to do that. And then sort of being strategic about where I placed it. Something when I merged my firm with Fox Legal a couple of years ago, 2 things that I saw that just literally made this decision much easier. I had 2 partners, and both of them took a month off every year. And I remember saying to myself, why am I not doing that? Why am I so important that I can't leave? And I had to have a come to Jesus with me. You're just not that important, Phyllis. And the trade-off is having put in all this time and getting all this money and accolades, but not having a life to go with it, or trying to incorporate a life into that, because it's not a binary decision. It's not, oh my God, if I don't work, I won't make any money. You'll probably make more money. I think by doing that, I learned how to turn some things down that were particularly, some cases down that were particularly draining, or I knew could be particularly draining, and just not have that energy. I also reached out to people in my circle who I had not reached out to before. I started practicing the value of networking with people who look like me, and also people who don't look like me. Because, you know, when you were asking Mel the question about being a person of color, having grown up at the time period that I grew up, we were always taught you had to be better than to be considered good as. And while that may still have some truth to it, even today, we have resources in each other that we can pull on. And it's not a competition. I'm literally surrounding myself with people who want what's best for me. And they speak positive, they speak life into me, and they help me understand that you need to take some time for yourself. You got to put your mask on first before you can help the other people on the plane. So it's a process, even getting to that point. And it's a process staying in this area, but you got to be intentional about it. And I've just decided I'm going to be intentional about it.
Can you talk about the first day? I don't know if you can remember the first day that you literally said you weren't going to do anything.
Yeah, I do remember it because it was the most bizarre day. I got out of bed and I started thinking about, I need to go here, I need to go there, I need to go there. And I looked at my calendar like I always do. And I saw that this is a wellness day, not an errand running day, not a house cleaning day. And so it was a challenge to not do those things that I wanted to do because I had this day off. And so I went downstairs and I just flipped through Netflix for probably about 40 minutes, didn't watch a thing because everything looked so good and I couldn't choose, but it was bizarre. It was something I had to get used to because I wasn't used to doing it. And so
and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to, my assessment of us when we don't do what we normally do and take a break and not work and not do anything, there's a guilt that's associated with that. We feel guilty.
Yeah.
And we have to think about it differently, and we have to be intentional about thinking about it differently so that guilt isn't associated with rest.
Exactly. And that's what I mean by being intentional about it. After I ended that day, I immediately went to my calendar and found my next wellness day. And it took another 3 weeks. So because I didn't want to have to move stuff around because of the guilt. I got over that after that second time. I'm like, I got to take this off my, because this is going to be my wellness day. Let's move this. Let's take this. Let's reschedule this because it's going to be my wellness day. But you got to practice it like you do everything else. You practice your opening statement, you practice your theme, you practice the piano. You got to practice being on your wellness day and being intentional about your wellness day.
And be intentional, and you have to continue to grow it too. Yeah. So we went to a day spa, and Phyllis couldn't believe that I could be in there the entire day.
What is she doing in there?
But after she went, she got it. I mean, you could just go to one type of relaxation to another type of relaxation. All day.
These things were foreign to me at that time.
Mm-hmm. And could you tell our audience where you all are going in a couple of weeks?
We're going to Tulum, Mexico. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So how long are you going to be there?
Wednesday to Sunday.
Yeah, about 5 days. They've already planned their spa day. I'm like, look, I just got my shot. Can I come out my Pfizer fog before I decide? They were like, we got our day set.
Yes, that's a priority.
Wonderful.
It is definitely a priority.
Well, to our audience, I hope that you have benefited from as much as we have from our opportunity to share our experiences with you. My personally is that both Melanie and Phyllis are actually two of my favorite clients because they mean business. They mean business about growing their practice. They mean business about their personal well-being. They are action takers, including finding a way to have a commitment to their own lives and the quality of their lives. And I just love being around them. I love seeing them. And it was just an honor to coach both of them. So if you are there and you're looking and you're ragged and you're bedraggled because you're not taking care of yourself, if you're saying, well, because I am a person of color, things are hard for us. All I would say is, get off the cross. We need the wood.
And there you have it.
Girl, when she told me that, I was so mad at Pamela.
I love it.
I was so mad when she told me that. I finally got off the cross and gave her all the wood.
So there's another way, and get the support that you need. And you too can go to Tulum, Mexico, and take a month off. So we're glad that we had the opportunity to share our experiences with you.
Thank you.
Invest in yourself.